saying, what is a sequence? So if I say, okay, let's think about the things that I did today in order to get ready to come to school. What are some of the things that you did? Let's list a sequence of events that you did before you came to school. Then, you woke up, what'd you do after that? You ate breakfast? What else? Huh? You got dressed? What else? Brush your teeth? Put on your shoes, okay? So when you're thinking about a sequence of events for nonfiction, okay, what we're talking about are real, true things, true events that happen in order. All right, so it's order of events in which happen from first to last, okay? So clue words, things that you're going to be doing for sequence, you're going to be using these words or looking for these words to identify a sequence. Some clue words, first, next, then, and finally. If you hear those words, they're telling you a sequence of when things happen, okay? Other things that are important for you to look for that tell you a sequence. If you see dates, or if you see times of day, that tells you a sequence of when things happen. If you hear these two words, while or at the same time, they're saying that two events are happening together. So while I was brushing my teeth, I walked around the room. That's something that I do that's a habit of mine. When I brush my teeth, I like walk all around my house while I'm brushing my teeth. How many of you guys do that? So my son thinks it's really funny. So he's now, instead of standing at the sink, he'll put his toothpaste on his toothbrush and he'll walk around. And when he gets to me, he'll look at me and he'll go. Because he knows that he's imitating me. All right, he doesn't normally do that, but he sees that as I brush my teeth, I walk around the whole house and try to multitask. So he feels like he needs to brush his teeth while walking up and down the stairs. So, some words that you would say if you have two things that are happening at the same time, you could say, while I was brushing my teeth, I walked up and down the stairs. Or at the same time, when I was brushing my teeth, I was also walking up and down the stairs. Those are indicators that things are happening together, simultaneously. Okay? Timelines. When you're going through and you're creating a timeline, you want to put what's first, then second, then third, then fourth, in order. Okay? So, Megan, if you could get the door, please. We're going to look at a flag unfurled on page 205 in your text. And as I read this text, I want you to look for these clue words. Do you hear anybody saying first, next, then, and finally? Do you hear dates or times of day? Do you hear anybody saying while or at the same time? And be ready to share events that happen in order, okay? Do you know how many times the American flag has changed? From 1777 to 1960, Congress has changed the flag more than a dozen times. In 1776, George Washington needed a symbol for the country. Washington had used the Grand Union during the Revolutionary War. The Grand Union flag had the British Union Jack in the upper left-hand corner. In 1777, the Continental Congress passed the first Flag Act. The act stated that the flag be made of 13 stripes and 13 stars. 1 year earlier, Betsy Ross, a seamstress from Philadelphia, reported that she had sewed the first American flag. As the legend goes, Washington had visited her shop and showed her a flag design. The result was the first Stars and Stripes flag. It had a circle of 13 stars that represented the original 13 colonies. The Stars and Stripes flag remained in use for several years. Then, in 1791, Vermont was added to the Union. Another star and stripe were added. After that, another star and stripe were added for every new state, until finally, in 1818, Congress decided to keep the number of stripes at 13 and allow the addition of a new star for each state. New state. So, here are our clue words. What I would like you to do is underneath your mini lesson, I would like you to write down any numbers, dates that you heard. If you heard first, next, then, and finally, write down those words. If you heard while or at the same time, write those words down. I don't want you to write the sentences. I just want you to write those signal words that you heard. Okay? Take 2 minutes to do that now. And then let's take a few volunteers to come up and underneath here write those sequence words that you heard. Number 1, if you could come up and write a sequence word. Number 6. What? Number 10. I have no idea where it is. Number 4. Number 25 isn't here. Number 17. Number 7 for now. Underneath. Just write the signal word that you know down here. Write them down in your notebook, please. So I see a few sequence words that are being put up on the board. Then keep it. Look at your paper. Who else did I call on to come up and do a sequence word?
Number 7. No, 10.
Number 3. Number 8. Number 6. Everyone's here except Noah, so he's 25. I've called your number. Come on up.
You already called 6 times.
20. Number 9. 13. Today during reading workshop, you're going to be coming back with me. We're going to be doing a sequence mini lesson back there. As well in reading response, you're going to be using a timeline to put the events that you saw in order. And we'll practice that here in just a second. Okay, so you see a few different sequence words. We see first, then, until, finally. Those tell us a few sequence words. We also see some dates. 1776, 1777, 1818, 1960. So, if we were to put our sequence of events of things that occurred in order, let's think about which one would come first. In our timeline, what would we put first? Elise,
1776.
what happened in 1776?
George Washington needed a symbol for the country.
1776, George Washington did what?
He needed a symbol for the country.
George Washington
Needed a symbol for the country.
needed a symbol for the country. next? Tim?
The
Continental.
Continental Congress passed the first Flag Act,
What year did that happen in?
1776.
Okay, so in 1777 they passed the Flag Act. What happened next after 1777? And this one's going to be a trick. It's not going to say the date or the time. There's a clue word. Kennedy?
A year earlier.
It said a year earlier. What's a year earlier than 1777? Jillian?
1776.
Yeah, so two events occurred in 1776. It said Betsy Ross reported that she had sewed the first American flag. So at the same time, right, Betsy Ross sewed first flag. Okay? Okay, we're almost out of time, so let me finish up real quickly. It says, what happened next? It said in 1791, Vermont was added to the Union.
And then we'll write that up there.
There. We're just finishing up. Give us 1 second. And then, what's the next date? Yes.
In 1818, Congress decided to keep the number of stripes at 13.
Okay. Did anything happen before that? It said after that. Would that happen after 1791? So we don't really know the date, but it says after that, another star and stripe were added for every new state. So a star and stripe for every state. Okay? We're going to finish this in reading. Please put your reading notebooks away, your reading books away. If you've not finished your data binder, you'll need